So that's loose enough, pretty much. Try not to slice my fingers open. And that blade is pretty chewed up. You can see it. It's pretty nasty. And there's the
Yours double-sided or just one?
just single. And Titan Knife actually sells pretty decent blades. They're not
They're not tight. They're, I mean, when you, if you were to turn it, they will fall out.
yeah,
correct?
they'll fall out. So that's why I want to be really that. Rotate around, or I'll lose those little parts. I didn't think
I have
to.
an electric planer that is exactly that same kind of
Oh, is it?
setup as well, so it's not just the wrong
Yeah, it's
drove me nuts trying to.
one thing's for sure is that if there is a lot of sawdust or buildup in there, blow it out, clean it out, put that right back in there. Take your blade and very carefully, I might have to,
How much was the blade, Jimmy? Just curious. So I don't know what.
60 cents an inch to sharpen these. So these are what, 24 inches of blade, so that's 6 times 24 is
25 is
18 bucks, 16 bucks, something like that. So you put your blade back in like that, and then all I do is, and now a lot of people use a piece of metal, a lot of people use magnets, but I like to do something that's a little bit more kind. So I just simply take a flat edge, straight edge piece of wood, and I rotate this around, and right now you can see that that blade's not touching that. So all I do is I stick my Allen wrench in there.
And again, what does that, do those little screws do?
It raises or lowers the
The
blade.
blade, got
So
it.
I just did about a quarter of a rotation on that, and I'm still not touching, so I'm gonna do a little bit more, and now I'm touching. You can see it,
So until it catches there.
right?
You want it to scrape a little bit.
No, I want it to be just below it, so I backed it back off, I
Right.
pushed that blade back down, and now I'm just,
Can
You hear it?
Can I feel it?
listen,
Let's see.
listen.
Got it.
That's-
Just kissing it.
You can just hear it just touching it, so that end is set right. Now back here, I'm too low. So, and remember, top dead center is where that is just at its highest point. So I've raised it. It's still a little bit low. It's too high, so I'm pressing it down a little bit. That's it.
There you can hear it.
That's it. So once you get it,
And you tighten the bolts?
just try to tighten them without letting that blade move too much. So I just usually do a couple little tightening in the middle, because sometimes if you're too aggressive, it makes that blade ride up in that.
I'm impressed, Jamie. It looks like a snap-on wrench.
It is.
Only the best.
I think somebody left it here.
Oh, that's.
I can't
Never
afford
mind.
those. I didn't even really know what, truthfully, what a snap-on was until somebody said, "You got a snap-on."
Yeah, that's the best.
Well, they used to be, or they still?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
used
Oh,
to
yeah.
have the reputation.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I don't know if that's still true.
So you can see right now, though, that it's actually a little bit, it raised up a little bit. So what I would have to do is I would have to go back, loosen
Loosen
these up,
everything.
just a hair. And I'm gonna check it on this end. Yeah, it raised up just a bit. I'm gonna back those off just a tiny bit. And I'm gonna press them down.
So you're just tweaking again after that until you get it right.
And once I get that right,
So you have to do that with each of the blades?
with each one. It takes me about 5 or 6 minutes for each blade to get it exactly where I want it
It's
to
not
be.
bad.
Well, if you think how much use you get out of it for
Sure.
that
How many
minimum
hours
amount
is
of
that?
time.
Yeah.
Yep. One thing to think about, if you guys, and I tell this to everybody and that takes the basic woodworking class.
Well, and exactly, and so I was really having a hard time, especially using like roller stands, trying to make it so that, I mean, it would want to move on me
Yeah.
as I'm trying to push it through.
Yep.
And I didn't. I mean, I ended up doing it good enough so that you
Yep.
wouldn't know. But that was one of the big issues that I had, especially with the smaller joiner, because I think my table probably
Yeah,
only comes
you're
out
like-
to about here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a large, it's a standard. It's not a tabletop, but it's
right,
not
What is
quite
it,
as large
6 foot
as
bed?
this.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's
That's-
probably a 4.
That's another
if I
one of
had
them
to guess.
remedial things that I think you did for me.